Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here in the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for November 11th, 2023, which I host Peacemaker2448 and Ramp It Up Salon.
Hi.
It's more Saber. We're finally through all the stuff that made me just not care about the show anymore.
You know what's weird? Outside of the character, a couple of the characters kind of just getting on my nerves, I'm fine with this first arc. Like, it's got a few missteps, but all in all, it actually kind of works. I get the feeling that this is the highlight of the show, though.
Maybe, I don't know. It's hard for me to judge the rest of the show because I stopped caring about anything happening in the show at this point. So everything else was just like, well, this is happening. Well, stuff's happening, I guess. Maybe. I don't fucking know. I don't care anymore.
Well, I'm going to put it this way. If I could have gotten past Ren, I probably would at least have went up to the last episode of this batch. The first episode of the next batch would be my questionable on whether or not I dropped the show from that point. Because why did this last episode actually need to happen? We've spent all this time building the opposite thing. So we're gonna let one character say a few shady things and change the entire status quo of the show.
It's so stupid and dumb. I hate it. I hate the logic of it because I'm like, what? How does this make sense to any of you besides you are listening to a superior?
Yeah.
Because none of you are acting like you're just listening to a superior. All of you are acting like she has a point.
It's one of those I could see if they were like, well, we've got to do this. We don't want to, but we've got to do this. And then when we start getting the explanation, then being like, oh, well, that does seem odd. Maybe you're onto something. Instead, we get, no, you must be traitor. What? What? Especially when the literal holy sword, like the holiest of holy swords, shows up and is like, nah, this guy's cool. I'm protecting him. And everyone's like, retreat for now. We will get you later.
I'm like, what? Wait, how do you? I'm sorry. One of you is the swordsmith. How do you not know who the fuck this person is?
That
isn't it?
That was the point where I've got to the full point of, wow, okay, we're doing this for no reason.
Yeah. We split up the main cast so Toma can go hang out with a new toy.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this the first time that we've actually had, you know, a somewhat important character just actually be dead for more than just a half an episode?
Yes. Although, is he really dead?
I mean, it's assumed that way, so that would count as a death.
That also annoys me to no fucking end because I'm like, why? I hate this. I hate this so much.
I mean,
this is so stupid.
Clearly, he's not dead. But
spoilers, he's not dead.
No, he's not dead. It's one of those. It's like, that's actually odd that they have full on committed to this. Because usually you get a character in a writer show that dies, whether that's main writer, secondary, whatever. They're only dead for like a half an episode at best. This is kind of a little weird because it's like, wow, they pulled the trigger and did something a little heavier than expected, which is good. It's a shame that it's in this show.
To too bad they bungled it by going, wait, no, he can't die this episode. He has to die next episode. I'm like, fucking why?
Coupled with the fact that, we have both of our other, honestly, for story purposes, main writers almost bite the bullet before this too. So
yeah.
it almost cheapens it. But at the same time, it's kind of impressive that they actually held to it this time.
Well, shall we get into the episodes themselves?
I guess.
All right, it is 13 through 16, folks, and we kick off with episode 13. I will stay true to my convictions. So Kento is not dead after the entire scene in the last episode showed him being dead.
Yeah.
He's just unconscious, but now he's been hit by the curse of Calibur's sword that will suck him into the sword and into the void.
That is plot convenience just for a scene later.
That they have entirely introduced within this first scene.
Yep.
As a thing now.
Yep.
And I'm like, what? Why? Why does he do that? Why is this the only time he does this?
Because
this will literally be the only.
Because we had to have a last minute change to, have a shadow sword and a light sword. I feel like that's a last minute change.
This is the only time anyone wielding Calibur will ever use this power, ever.
I legitimately think this is a last minute change because they needed a way to write our new toy at the end of this batch in. Without just saying that he's another swordsman.
Except he's been around for several episodes.
I almost think that originally he was supposed to be some unknown swordsman, and then they changed it last minute, and that's where this also had to stem from.
Yeah. But yeah, the team are in a frenzy because, like, oh no, we need to get Calibur's sword. But oh no, we have to destroy and stop the last pillar from going up because if Calibur kills it, it counts. Which again makes the entire point of Kento still being fucking alive pointless because it's like, okay, they need Kento's sword. No, they don't. They have another sword and they only need one pillar. Oh, look, Calibur hasn't killed one of them yet. Why is Kento still alive then? Also,
shout outs to, yet again, us putting importance on why there's different colors for each of them, except for we've had one rider light up 2 different color pillars.
Yep.
Good work, show. Way to not follow the continuity that you think you're trying to follow.
Mm-hmm. So everybody heads out except for Daisenji because he's going to work on the now 2 big books that they have.
Because it can't be 3 because that's foreshadowing something.
No, because they had one big book they got from Avalon, and then they have a second big book because...
reasons.
I honestly have no idea where the fucking second big book came from because it's, I would say movie, but no, he didn't get it in the movie. So I don't know where this thing came from.
Deleted
it just
scene
exists.
From the movie?
What deleted scene? That's barely a movie to start with.
I mean, exactly.
And by work on it, I mean the Daisenji's not going to really do anything except put things in the holes and just go, all right, it's got to cook. So, wait for it to ding, I guess.
Except for how both books are made are completely different.
Yes.
Toma never gives up his books to make his.
Nope.
It just happens.
Yep. But yeah, they tried to intercept Caliper and fail. So good job, guys. And then Kento slips past May, even though he's nearly dead, because poor May's not allowed to do anything of value in this show.
Ever. Which is... honestly, when she has no part of the show is actually better.
I hate to say that, but it's true.
She's just
like whenever
too much is what
whenever
it is.
whenever she's dialed back at times, it's like, oh, they understand what May needs to be in the show. But whenever she's at 15, it's like, oh God, why? Stop it. Stop being at 15.
I swear this batch, she is more at 15 than anywhere else.
Yes. But yeah, Kenzo takes a shot from Caliper. But Caliper still kills the monster, so hey, last pillar. They all get thrown out of wherever in town they are, and then they regroup and stuff, and Kento gets to lay on the ground for the rest of the episode as he slowly dies.
Yes, because it takes the rest of the episode for him to die. And actually the first, couple of minutes of the next one.
Yep. But team tries again. They fail. Toma's gonna nearly get killed. But then the one big book flies out, and apparently Luna, of all people, the small child that Toma met 15 years ago and is friends with, is like, hey, Toma, would you like an upgrade? Here you go. Have fun.
Also, because of that, I also thought that the final scene before Kento dies, I actually thought that she was gonna just pull some magic BS and just take the darkness from him. I was waiting on that, and when they didn't do it, I was like, oh no, we're actually going this way. Okay.
No, Luna's connected to other magical nonsense. They think. They
made it a point to show her in frame in one of the cuts. I was like, okay. Oh yeah, she's fixing to just reverse this for magic reasons.
Yeah.
And then they didn't, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The show actually earned a little bit of respect for that. I will give it that.
Yeah. You did the right thing. You did it an episode too late, but you at least did the right thing.
Yeah.
But now Toma's got Draconic Knight, which is his best suit in the show, and he's going to get criminally underused for the next several episodes because we have to sell the other new toy, which is we'll meet later. Why are all my favorite suits like the winter break, Christmas upgrade, and they're all really good and they get so underutilized later on? I hate it. I hate it so much.
I mean, yeah.
Because it happened The Shining, it happened to Draconic Knight. I'll be honest, I kind of...
Okay, with Shining, I can kind of defend that one. I don't ever think that was supposed to be that end point for it.
Yeah.
I think Shining Assault always was supposed to be the end goal for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had to have that stepping off point.
Yeah.
So that one I'm not upset. Not to mention Shining Assault's not bad of a suit either.
No, it's perfectly fine.
So that's one of the few that I would be like, okay, I'm fine with Shining just not having much screen time there.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the others, I'm like, yeah, that sucks.
I'll be honest, besides Ultimate, the only real Revice upgrade I really like is Barad. I really like Barad. I kind of don't care for Volcano, and I kind of don't care for Thundergale.
Yeah.
Jack I like, but again, Jack gets kind of underutilized because, oops, gotta upgrade the Thundergale as soon as possible. Also, that's a Vice upgrade, not a Revi upgrade. And then Mark II was really good and stuff, but oh no, we gotta replace it with Laser Boost.
Yeah.
Ray Wara, you have really good suits. You should use them more instead of just throwing them away for a different suit in 3 weeks.
But, oddly though, I feel like more often than not, it's a case of that's what they're building around. And it might be more the simplicity that you're getting drawn to.
Yeah.
And it might be a case of that's never meant to be the suit. That's always meant to be the stepping stone to get to the suit.
Yeah. Maybe we should have better upgrades then.
I mean, granted, the laser boost one, yeah, no, we didn't need that one, but but it's one of those. Come to think about it, for the most part, yeah, everything that we were talking about there was like stepping stones for the next form.
Mm-hmm.
So that might actually just be the case.
Yeah, Dragonic Knight here is the exception. It is not a stepping stone to anything. It's supposed to be a standalone form that just shares a gimmick with what will be Blaze's upgrade. Well, a partial gimmick, because, well, no, it's a gimmick because Blaze's has its own gimmick that has nothing to do with Dragonic Knight. But anyway, Tomo's in Dragonic Knight. He gets more or less Riki's like visor thing from his show, except it reads books and he can like shoot fire out of it. Okay. I don't know why that needs to be a part of the suit because it's good enough as is, but yeah, fine. They can read books and shoot fire. Good enough.
Well, I mean, that has to be the gimmick for the upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Also, he can summon Brave Dragon and ride him in combat. Which, it wasn't until this rewatch that it makes me look at a later plot point if we ever get to it and go, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I'm a little annoyed about it now. It involves the Berserk form, essentially. But yeah, Tomo blows up Caliber, literally blows him up, but loses track of the sword. So Kento goes poof. He goes into the sword. He's dead now. Goodbye. Goodbye, Kento. We'll see you eventually. At some point in the future. Maybe if we somehow make it that far. Which leads us to episode 14. These feelings dwell in this blade. So Caliber revives out of his sword because that's just what he can do now. Because this one doesn't count, but the other one will count as him dying.
Well, I mean, this one he just got exploded. The other one he got stabbed.
Yep. But Tomo passes two of Kento's books to Kenzan and Bustard. He takes the third and Ikazuchi because why let this equipment sit on a shelf? We might as well make the best use of it until after this, and then we stop using all of them. I don't know what happens to Ikazuchi after these 4 episodes.
Forever on the shelf.
Yep. Daiji's working on the second book as everyone else goes to try to like blow up the pillars and stuff. And Rento's like, I want the upgrade. And Daiji's like, all right, cool. So he slots in his 3 books and then he slots in King Arthur because
reasons.
This is the last proper use of King Arthur at this point, folks. Say goodbye to King Arthur. The entire point of it was for Tomo to get swung around as a sword and then to give Rentaro an upgrade. That's it. The book.
And to almost be used one more time.
Yep.
Because honestly, when Tomo uses it later, we get the transformation, but the next cut, he is in the previous form.
Yep.
So they even forgot between cuts.
Yep. That's it, folks. That's it for King Arthur. You know, the legendary, probably the most legendary and most well-known swordsman in all of literature, with the sword, who's wielding probably the most famous sword in all of literature. That's it for the show based around books, literature, and swordsmen. How How the fuck is Arthur not a more prominent upgrade in this series? I don't understand. That is the part that baffles me to no end, is how the hell is King Arthur not like one of the major upgrades in this fucking series?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a right shoulder.
It is a right shoulder that is a generic sound effect in the driver. It doesn't even get a special sound effect. It is just a generic Wonder Rider sound effect.
Can anyone say afterthought?
Apparently.
Which to this I'm gonna say, why was that afterthought? It writes itself.
Not only that, you know what really would have worked? Because, you know, Cross Saber is just a sword using all of the, just a new sword using all of the other books. You know what would really help sell Cross Saber in terms of, you know, being a proper final form and stuff visually? Why doesn't it have a special book associated with it that is, oh, I don't know, a Knights of the Round Table book featuring all of the different swordsmen from the series? Because we don't get that. And I'm still annoyed about that to this day.
Well, I mean, you know, it could be worse. To be fair, it really could be worse. Could be a gold suit with pictures of all the other swordsmen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you know exactly what I meant off of that one.
Yeah. 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 I need to go dig up. Like, I got a tangent here real quick and dig up the what someone did for a Cross Saber that is like one of the two I've always seen, and it is so much better than this by a mile. See if I can find it. Okay, there's one version of it. This is what Cross Saber should have been.
I could actually see the right one. To be fair.
The right one is very busy because, you know, the 1001 colors, because it's all the different writers and stuff.
But that one would actually fit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm like, I actually could see that one.
And what's better is this person who is Dark Tidal Wave on DeviantArt actually did the other variants. So there is this version of Cross Saber with like the Crimson Dragon combo, and yeah, it still changes up the chest and the arm, but it still keeps all the rest of the stuff.
Also, for those wondering. That just so that it's more visible.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like that right one I would be fine with, though. Because, yeah, it's busy, but it would at least signify this show in its entirety.
Mm-hmm. And then they also did a variant with the Wonder Almighty book, which is the book that Tomy uses to just be in Brave Dragon at the end of the show, because that was the thing for 2 years. And nobody likes it. I do kind of dig that it is more or less Brave Dragon colors.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, cross Saber, you are. And what's worse is it is, as said by one of the folks from the Soto Pop team, or not Soto Pop, just the Kamen Rider Soto team. It is a non-toy friendly design because of all the stars and all that. Like, it is, that thing is impossible to make into a toy because it is too intricate of a paint job. It has to be simplified down so it will never be show accurate.
I mean, or it could be stickers.
It is stickers for Soto, but it is a lot of stickers for Soto. I don't have the picture available, but it pretty much is a blank, like, dark blue body that you have to wrap in stickers for Soto. I don't think, like, Figuarts has not touched this at all, and I'm not surprised because they've not been doing final forms for a while, but also I'm like, I can't wait for the Figuart to be like, it's not accurate and it still costs you like $100. But anyway, back in the show after that tangent. Three of them meet up or end up confronting Caliber in Storius? Is it Storius? I honestly don't give a shit about the boy band here of these three dinguses because they're nobodies. They just sit around there. They're sometimes actual set, sometimes green screen set, and saying that they're going to do bad things, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't care about the boy band. They suck. Especially when they get jobbed out the entire fight, practically.
Except for the one time where they're actually holding their own.
Hooray! They then immediately lose. And fuck off and leave. But it's back and forth. Daijinji shows up. Fight. Our other trio of swordsmen fight the three bad guys and beat them up by swapping around their little secondary books. Rentaro finally shows up with King Lion, so he's in a fancy new blue lion form that has cannons and he can turn into a Zoid and wield the sword in his mouth because
reasons.
That's the gimmick, and I'm like, cool, he's a Liger now from Zoid. Fine, I don't care. But he takes out one of the pillars. The big monsters are on the back foot. Toma pursues Caliber into the big book that's in the sky that got spawned by all the pillars from earlier, but it was blocked off because Toma spit fire at it. So nobody could go into it till now. So how do you feel halfway through?
But besides the apparent missteps, pretty fine with it.
Yeah. Like, it's fine, but I think my biggest problem with Saber is I don't really care for everything that's happened the last 12 some odd episodes, and everything going forward from the show predicates me caring about what happened in the first 12 episodes of this show. So since the foundation of the show is really shaky and bad for me, everything else feels bad just because of that. And I am probably being very unfair to the show for that.
Maybe yes and no kind of deal. Because, I mean, no, a show does need to have some kind of solid footing.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like at the same time the show does have a solid footing. It's the supporting pieces is where the shakiness comes in.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a full cast that we're fine with every one of them being on the screen at any given point.
Yeah, because I'm like, Talba certainly exists, and he feels very much in the style of Takaru, where everyone wants him to do cool things and stuff, and that's just what everyone does because Takaru can because Toma can do cool things. because he's special, I guess. Even though the show doesn't even really get into why Toma's special.
It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, there's too much of it's this way because it just is.
Mm-hmm.
Not it's this way because reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of that too. It kind of gets into that supporting pieces doesn't really hold up enough for the main to actually shine.
Yeah.
I feel like this first arc has a cohesive story. You just have to overlook like most of the other crap.
You have to overlook so much to get there.
And it's one of those, I full on see why I just wasn't feeling it out the gate. I also full on see that I might have gotten aggravated with the cast, and that's what kind of turned me away from it. Because when you only have a handful of people that you're fighting with watching, that's a problem.
Yeah. I think that's why Gotchart's not working for a lot of people, because it is doing plot stuff, but it's doing it slowly and in the background, and it's kind of letting the characters be the forefront, but a lot of the characters just aren't working for a lot of people.
My problem is only something that I hope will straighten up the farther in the show we get.
Mm-hmm.
It feels too lighthearted and too childish kind of deal.
Yeah.
It don't feel like there's any actual stakes.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I don't know if maybe that's just how they intended for the start of it to be, and maybe it'll change. Because this isn't the first time we've had a writer show be kind of more in a lighthearted sense.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not it'll fit when they do start taking the darker turn kind of deal. I feel like that's going to be that point where I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the producers have said that they wanted a more lighthearted show. I think because Geats just went to a lot of places over the course of its run, and it's like, we want to do something a little bit more lighthearted. And I feel like because of the staff on it, it's supposed to be more kind of like back during Double O's Forza Wizard, where we're kind of doing 2-episode arcs and we're kind of letting the plot be in the background. We're just kind of doing one-off stories at the forefront at the early bits.
Which I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. And also, like I said, I'm fine with the more lighthearted, at least at the beginning. I mean, heck, even Revice kind of had more of a lighthearted start to it as opposed to a dark and gritty.
Yeah.
So it's not that it has to be super intense for me to like it. It's just a case of, I don't know. It feels like it almost feels like Gotchard's aiming more for the Super Sentai audience, more so than it is for the writer audience, and that might be the part where I'm kind of getting a little turned away from it kind of deal. Like I'm still watching it, but I'm not really caring.
Yeah, I honestly kind of feel that, because since I'm watching Gotchard and King Oger at the same time, King Oger is, has more stakes to it, is trying to do a lot more serious stuff, so they might have decided to do a flip on that one.
They might have then.
That oddly makes sense looking at the two shows.
It would make sense on that then. But at the same time, I feel like that's gonna not necessarily hurt it, but I think it's gonna weaken reaction to Gotchard kind of deal.
Yeah, because I could say that there's been Sentai shows I've liked, but I would not say I've liked them more than a writer show that I was either watching at the same time or in hindsight. Even for a Sentai show I really like Gokaiger or Shinkenger, I'm like, yeah, they don't do as big plot stuff in character or plot stuff as writer tends to do. They do a lot of just character work, and that's about as much as you can ask Sentai of.
No, I mean, like I said, we are still early with Gotchard. Maybe by the time we get out of this first little patch, we'll be into something a little more writer-esque.
I would assume so, because we're about to like explode with like major upgrades in writers, because I believe by the end of January we're supposed to have like 7 writers on the cast approximately.
So I might could see it starting to get to the point where that might be the case, but at the same time I'm like, if we keep going at this pace, I don't know.
Yeah, because I think the timeline is Gotchard's supposed to get his like level X upgrade. That's gonna kind of debut in the movie, but it's gonna be in the show at the same time.
Oh, so we're gonna have another one of them.
Yeah. Essentially, I believe his level X form is actually a kind of a baseline thing where he can use any of the level X cards with it. So they have individual forms within the system. Because it's a sword, but the sword can bolt onto the driver. It's kind of weird, but like, okay, sure. But there's that. And then after that, there's supposed to be an upgrade share between Gotchard and Valverid that's supposed to give Valverid his like proper rider form. So it's going to kind of essentially be a dead heat situation where, yeah, Gotchard has this thing, but it's more secondary item that he'll probably use like once, and then it will be off to the secondary rider for the rest of the show. Then Rena's supposed to transform with a driver. We're supposed to get a mass-produced alchemist driver. There's the driver that the sisters have been teasing for a couple weeks now. That I believe is supposed to be a premium Bandai driver, kind of like the Demon's driver was. And then Legend's supposed to show up in the show at some point. And I feel like that's it. Yes, that's it. That's essentially like the timeline of Gotchard stuff to January at this point. From what we understand from leaks and rumors and the like.
You know, when you made the comparison to Dead Heat, that actually kind of made me think of something. They're trying for a more lighthearted version of Drive, the way they're going with this.
Fuck, you're right, yeah.
Because Drive kind of started out the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, we had the overall mystery at the beginning there, whereas here we are kind of lacking that, because it's like they've showed enough of the cards where it don't matter now.
We have the we're counting things thing that like Drive had.
Yeah.
But it's more explicit because like in Drive, we had like an exact number of raid muse that we had to deal with over the course of the series. Here we have an exact number of Kemis we have to like put back in cards so people who are mean and stuff don't like pick up a Kemi and just go blow up a bank or something.
But yeah, after you said that, I'm like, wait a minute, yeah, that might be what it is.
I'm surprised I haven't thought about that, because I've been watching a bunch of AMVs for Drive stuff, and Drive has been on my mind at least.
And what's bad is, truthfully, with Drive, I kind of felt the same way coming off of Gaim. And as strong as Geats was, that might be what's happening with this too. Which is also part of the reason why I'm kind of pushing through.
God, now that you think about it, this really is Gaim Drive all over again. Because I'm just remembering no one really cared about Drive at the start of the series because everyone was like, oh no, this show's not gonna get good. Because we're coming off Geats with its really strong like in-game and stuff. But then Drive later on, people are like, oh shit, Drive's really good. And I'm like, oh God, we're in that situation again, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we are.
And what's hilarious is that it's the same sort of writing people, I believe, on Drive. From Drive, I think one of Drive's writers is on Gotchard.
I think so.
Okay, Keiji Hasegawa, who like did secondary writing for Drive, but he does secondary writing for a lot of different writer shows. He was on Drive for a handful of episodes.
But yeah, I feel like that's the exact same thing we're having happen again. Which is funny because Geats followed a lot of the same patterns that Gaim did.
It's almost like this stuff is just written by the same people and the same things tend to pop up every now and again. And to think we're only like one number off from them both being like the fifth and sixth shows of their respective era.
Right.
Because Geats is the fourth and Gotchard's the fifth. Yeah, I guess just the rest of the Saber characters at this point and how I feel about them. Rentro's fine. He's okay. The only problem is he gets stuck with May all the time. And like we've said, May is at 15 a lot of times, and May is not tolerable at 15. She's tolerable at 10, not 15. Please stop making her be at 15.
She's barely tolerable at 10.
Yeah. Kento's okay, but he's dead now, so bleh.
Yeah, so now he don't matter.
He's here as motivation for Toma for him to get his memories back, and then probably forget about that promise he made to Luna because he's gonna be busy with other shit for like the next few dozen episodes. just watch, count how many episodes no one will talk about Luna, especially Toma, even though this girl is super important to him. Supposedly. I like Buster. I like Big Dad. I like Dad with big fuck off sword that just beats people to death with his big sword that is sometimes floppy because, oops, we can't swing around the proper version of this sword without hurting somebody. We got to swap to the floppy version.
So you like Dad Cloud?
Yes, I like Dad Cloud.
I do
Daisenji has a personality and he's fun how he bounces off everybody. So it's like, hooray, Daisenji! It also doesn't help that like they're the two senior swordsmen of the bunch. Unfortunately, that's going to be a downside for them later. And then there's Rin, who I wish to dunk in a dumpster because god damn it, Rin. God damn it. Like, you're better right now because you are not the focus?
He's better right now because someone decided not to dial him up to 10.
He's better because he is not like he's not spouting a bunch of nonsense, and he's just a sword hitting people. And I'm like, okay, cool, you're fine. You're not spouting bullshit.
Just wait. 16, I already can tell, is gearing that direction again.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, let's set the second half with episode 15, Beyond the Resolution and Beyond. Somebody watched Toy Story. So we find out what this whole big old like 6 lights and pillars of lights and something a big book is for. For when you go into the big book, it allows you access to the table of contents from the big fancy book of everything that ever is, was, or ever will be that blew up and created all the other books and all the other stuff. And through that, you can gain ultimate knowledge and power. That's it. Also, I know it has a different name, but I refuse to call it anything but the table of contents. It's like the table of Revelations or something. I forget what it said. I don't know. Did you pay attention to what the actual name is?
I mean, it's the great big book of everything with 0 pages in it.
No, it has 1 page. It has the table of contents still in it. Because the animation they show, it's literally still like the first page is there. And I'm like, it's the table of contents then.
I mean, it could be the blank filler page.
Oh, true. But yeah, again, this is
funnier.
But again, this is the book of everything is, was, or ever will be because of reasons. So Caliber, they explain. I think they explain this. Yeah, they explain it later, but I'll explain it now. So Caliber has done all of this to access the table of contents to tell him who was the traitor in the Sword of Logos, who told the previous Caliber to do this very same thing in order to gain ultimate knowledge and power 15 years ago. That is his whole motivation for doing all of this. And when he found out all of this, he decided to do the exact same thing that the previous Caliber did in order to find out who the traitor was.
Instead of, doing actual detective work and just figuring it out.
Also, as we'll see, there's only like 3 people at the southern base of the Sword of Logos. Literally, there's only like 3 people there. You had a 33% chance of picking correctly. What the fuck? Why did you go all through all of this trouble just to read the big book of ultimate knowledge and power just to tell you who the fucking traitor was? That is again my problem of like, this is so stupid. That you decided that you stopped the previous Caliber from doing this thing and killed him for it. But then you decided to go around and do the exact same thing, but for slightly different reasons. And work with bad guys who you're sworn to fight against.
Which I love that Toma keeps questioning. Was this really worth it? Because that is exactly what the audience is thinking. It's like, was this really worth it?
Because you've accomplished nothing. You learned nothing. You accomplished nothing. You spent 15 years being the bad guy, and you did nothing, and you have nothing to show for it. Again, problem upon problem piling up, as this is the core and the basis for the entire inciting incident of the series. But yeah, Toma finds this out after him and Caliber lands somewhere in Wonderworld to go fight for a while. Toma gets put in the void by Caliber, but then Kento helps him pull himself out of the void because
magic reasons.
Friendship, lightning friendship.
I mean, friendship is magic.
Yep.
Also, that's a deep cut, so applause to anyone that caught that.
Yep. But they fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. And then the other guys lose the monsters for a little bit, but then they transform and they fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. And eventually Toma beats Caliber by doing a big old fuck off rider kick and double slash. And so Caliber's down and he's like, wow, I fucked up. I did bad things. I'm sorry. And then Disaster randomly shows up and murders him.
Straight up murders him.
Question.
Yes.
How the fuck did he get here?
Yes.
The other two had to literally fly to get here. Can Disaster fly? Because I'm pretty sure he can't fly.
Pretty sure he can't. I'm pretty sure he might be able to after getting his book. But he can't before then?
Because the only reason he kills Caliber is because he needs his book off Caliber's corpse. So that happened. And also, all of Caliber's shit gets stolen by a cloud of smoke. Just like Sophia. I wonder who's responsible for it. It could be anyone.
It's the smoke monster.
Unfortunately for them, much like Sophia, they're going to be shoved into a closet for several dozen episodes.
I mean,
'Cause-
she already has been shoved in a closet for the last 14 episodes, so what's new?
Talk about a character that is absolutely fucking nothing in this show. Good fucking lord. This poor woman gets...
I'd rather have Sophia than May.
True. But, like, I feel bad for her actress because all she gets to do is just stand around, exposit stuff, and then for the next, like, I think 8 episodes, she has to sit down in this one room and just be filmed sitting in this one room. Doing nothing and talking to whoever shows up. Like, I'm sure it was an easy payday, but God, you just got to do nothing fun in a writer show.
Yep.
But yeah, because while the other team has been blowing up the pillars and stuff, the book has been closing, so Toma hops out of it before it disintegrates. And yay, the day is saved, and Meggy fuck off to go do plot stuff for later. Which takes us to our final episode 16, Saving the World, A Ray of Light. So the Meggy are continuing to plot because now they have access to big books because we're upgrading to the big books now, as we're pretty much going to be doing 2-episode arc stuff from here on out. Which is the slightly annoying part of like, wait, you waited 15 episodes and now you're doing 2-episode Monster of the Week plots. And the part of writer, we're done with that shit and we move on to plot stuff. Oh boy. But Reika's continuing plotting with her boss to get the Sword of Light to appear because they need the Sword of Light for their shenanigans. The team decides to do some spring cleaning and have a big dinner to like start fresh because, you know, Sophia's gone and we'll have to try to find her, and, you know, Kento's dead, but we can celebrate the fact that the world's not over. Hooray! And apparently now the Wonder World is visible through bleeds to different people now because of the whole 6 Pillars of Light thing from the last few episodes. That's the part I'm not sure on what exactly they're seeing.
I mean, I'm assuming they're able to see part of Wonder World.
Right, but is it like, is the Wonder World like bleeding through slightly, or is it just a, hey, we're kind of like they're like partially in between the two realms?
I'd say
so they're
it's
able
more
to
they're
perceive
partially in between.
Okay. But yeah, that's the thing now. That'll be a plot point for next week or 2 weeks. Reika tries to recruit Toma at the southern base, and he's like, no, I like being at the northern base. Thank you, though. And then she proceeds to go around to everybody else and be like, hey, Toma gonna pull a traitor because the other people did. So go kick his ass and take a shit. They also tell her, or she also tells them that Sophia's been captured by the Meggies. They'll proceed to not do anything about this for weeks on end. There are 2 things that this cast constantly forgets about for the next few episodes, and that is the existence of Luna and where the fuck is Sophia? And I feel bad for both of them because they are constantly forgotten about in this series. So yeah, the other 4 swordsmen show up to Toma and they're like, hey, Toma, we need your stuff. And he's like, why? And they're like, boss lady said you're going to pull a traitor, so we're going to take your stuff just in case. And Toma's like, no. Also, that's weird. Weird. Maybe she's the traitor because Caliber told me there's a traitor. And everyone's like, that probably sounds like horse shit. Like, no one believes him, and I'm like, did Toma not tell anyone what the fuck happened last episode in his fight
Apparently
with
not.
Caliber? Which is another one of those just stupid things of just like, why would you not tell them? But like, here's why Caliber pulled all the bullshit he pulled, apparently, according to him. Do you think he has a point in it, guys? Because maybe he had a point. I don't know. Something weird's going down at least. But no, they fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. And then Yuri shows up, who's been this hooded guy that's been showing up in the last few episodes. And he was like the mystery guy that was in Avalon. And he's also been showing up with Tassel in like the recaps of last week's segments that I don't recap here because I don't fucking care. Tassel, shut up. I know what happened last week. I watched that episode just now. I don't care.
I mean, but recap.
Yeah, but
you've got to waste that like minute and a half there.
The minute and a half on top of the other minute and a half we waste on the ending credit song.
Yeah.
That is 3 minutes of time we could be using to do anything else in this fucking show.
Yeah, but then we're gonna run out of stuff to do by the end of the show. And if you run out of stuff to do by the end of the show, then you've got a final villain that gets revived 5 times because they ran out of stuff way too early.
Whoever could we be talking about?
I mean, there's a couple on that one.
What's bad is that there's still good shows, even though that is the case.
Yeah.
God. And it was back-to-back shows, too, even.
That was the worst part of it.
That's why I can't care about Evolved at all, or Chronos. They both suck because they both got their asses handed to them several times over. They were just like, nah, I can't die yet. The show's not over.
And you know what's screwed up is, I say that half jokingly, but it's probably the truth. They probably actually had to pad it that way, otherwise it was going to be short.
Yep. But yeah, Yuri shows up. He's the Sword of Light. And by Sword of Light, I mean literally he is the Sword of Light. He transforms into the Sword of Light via a book that I don't know what the deal with it is.
You know, I have a problem with saying that he transforms into the sword. The sword exists even, you know, in his hand. He just disappears.
Yes.
So, meh?
He's the big fancy new toy that Toma gets to hang out with for several episodes and show off.
Yeah, but I mean, they completely did that horribly.
Oh, trust me, that's not the worst thing they'll do with Yuri.
Because he full on has the sword in his hand. He
Yep.
just gets erased from the scene, literally.
But Yuri fights off everyone else and they decide to fuck off. And then the episode ends there because May's boss gets whammied by the Meggy because that's been happening in the background. And I didn't write anything down about it because I didn't care. Because they're like, oh no, not May's boss. Oh no,
That
how
we
terrible.
literally just met.
Yeah.
And totally
And-
couldn't have figured out that was going to be the person transformed into our monster of the week.
Yeah, for the job, by the way, that we have been hearing about this entire time.
Yeah.
That is also technically Toma's job.
Yes.
This is the first time we're meeting this character. And the last time we'll teach them too, I believe.
Probably.
But yeah, that is... So that's Saber for the week, folks. Hooray! We now move on to the part that maybe I'll feel better about because we're through the bullshit.
Doubt it.
Probably not.
Legitimately. 16 if I could have overlooked everything beforehand on an initial watch, I probably would have made it up to 16 without much fighting. After 16, that would have set me up to, okay, 17, better try to turn this around really quickly. If not, I'm done with the show. So the show would have had a second shot if I could have got past Ren. Small child needed to be dunked.
He needs to be dunked several times over.
I can deal with him after his focus arc. That's the bad thing. Why did we have to make him like that to begin with?
I really want the previous Kenzan to have been the Kenzan we got in the show. Because that would have been another female writer. And, like, we need more female writers in this franchise that aren't dead. So that would have been nice. But yeah, in 2 weeks, we'll pick this up and see what Yuri's deal is as the Sword of Light and interacting with Toma and everyone else being like, huh, the big fancy Sword of Light says Toma's cool. I wonder if that makes Reika suspicious at all. That is the question no one asks at all in the show, and I am baffled by it to no end. But between now and then, tomorrow, it is the first 2 cups of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. Thursday, I continue Project Crosstone. Next Friday,
I think.
Okay, I was like, I feel like I always forget. And then next Saturday will be TGS, where we get to talk about the TV show and movie stuff that is coming to Netflix, I guess. That's all I got at the moment. So if you like what you see and drop a follow, really appreciate it. Ship it away. That affiliate go at TGS Network on Mastodon.social and at TG Saloon on Twitter. We'll give you updates for live. Next Major Point Discord. Jack is Sizzler. Drop by. Say hi. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.